When we get back, I want to talk about Red Hot Lies and how you pegged them as how the alarmists use threats, fraud, and deception to keep you misinformed. I mean, you knew a year and a half ago when you were writing this, it's been out for a year, that this is a group who knowingly are engaged in fraud. So let's look at the scientists themselves then. You talk about GE and big banks and big corporations wanting it to pick pockets. You talk about the UN wanting it. You talk about the no-growthers, the eugenicists wanting it. But who are these scientists then? I mean, last week we got a UN document from years ago where they were directing the scientists to unify the fraud along collectivism. Amazing to have Christopher Horner on with us. I didn't read through his whole bio. It's quite amazing, and we'll be right back on the other side of this quick break. We'll tell you where to get the book as well. Our guest is a pretty heavy hitter, big lawyer for Enron, testifies for Congress, best-selling author, Christopher Horner, Red Hot Lies, How Global Warming Alarmists Use Threats, Fraud, and Deception to Keep You Misinformed. He'll be with us till 50 after. He was just telling me about a big Shell head meeting with the Rockefellers and an inside baseball Al Gore story. Then I want to get into the premeditated fraud of these people and what their agenda really is. Christopher, continue.
Oh, well, I was discussing somebody who will remain nameless who used to be with an oil company who's now pushing the global warming agenda. A very nice guy. I've debated him on several occasions, but very wrong on the issues, and I don't understand where he's coming from. But anyway, he told me he met with one of the deep pockets for this, and you mentioned them, funding the alarmist activities, and that they said, you know, Gore's killing us, and we got to get around him. And I told him, how do you get around the guy who's bragging he got $300 million from someone to rebrand global warming into climate crisis? And this guy said to me back, oh, don't worry, William Riley's group has $1 billion. The Rockefeller brothers have at least $500 million or something like that. It's not Gore's money. He's the guy that gets all the attention, and he's killing the movement. And I said, well, you know, my heart bleeds for you. That's too bad. Couldn't happen to a nicer bunch of folks.
He really does radiate a type of demonic Nelliness. I don't know how to describe it, but everyone I know just cringes when they see him on television, just the arrogant, almost lizard-like look on his face.
It's not. He really. Here's the thing. He scripted tries to navigate the waters of dishonesty with word choice and things like this. He's clearly read the UK High Court opinion, which threw out every claim. And then when he's unscripted, and on the rare moment he's challenged, he will just tell whoppers. He did on MSNBC the other day. You know, like when he's unscripted, he says things like Earth's core is millions of degrees and so on. But he just, I think he's a wonderful face for their movement. I really thought he was the gift that keeps on giving. Keep him out there. Whoever gave him $300 million, and I don't know if you saw the 60 Minutes piece, but he's there. And Steve Croft actually asked him when Gore was bragging about this $300 million he got. And remember, Al Gore says where you get your money dictates your motivations and your opinions. And if you got a bunch of money from anybody, you sold out, so on. So I just want to know, since he's set the rules. So Steve Croft on 60 Minutes actually asks him, where'd you get it? And Gore freezes. And he freezes. And Croft just waits for an answer, and his wife takes Al's arm and says, Al, I'll handle this. Steve, we donated our Nobel Prize money and matched it. And Croft accepted that and moved on without realizing that left him $298.6 million short of $300 million. And Gore has told us, who sees this as such a profitable investment to give you that kind of money? We know it's Soros, and we know it's the guys at Kleiner Perkins, his investment, his venture capital partners who sink their money in these white elephants that will.
That's right. He'll give the chicken feed $500,000 prize or $1 million from a book, but he's keeping the Blood and Gore consortium. He's going to make the money. He's keeping his stock in Occidental Petroleum. He's keeping all the profits from the system he's setting up that he and people like the President Barack Obama own stakes in. I mean, it's just a unbelievable fraud.
Well, the thing is, he gets away by saying, I didn't know you were against capitalism, and to believe that I'm doing this for money, you don't know me. But it's true. He could be a true believer, except, like I say, occasionally he speaks in such careful language that he knows what he says is untrue.
Well, why does he have a 20-room mansion if he really believes carbon dioxide is a nerve gas that is used to, kill enemy troops. I mean, if he really believes what plants breathe is like the most deadly VX nerve gas on Earth, why does he have a building emitting so much nerve gas?
That's actually not dispositive to my mind. There are people like him who may not, I understand, Alex, he doesn't believe a word he says, which is possible. Or he believes there are different rules for different people, and he's special. And I get the feeling he's one of those. But he's got 4 of these joints, okay? And he lives a way that he cannot possibly believe that buying a carbon offset credit from planting trees, which is an accounting gimmick giving you 80 years of life if the tree lives that long, and never dies, by the way, and releases the CO2 back in the atmosphere, in 1 year, he can't possibly believe these phony schemes offset his contribution. So I'm torn. It seems to me difficult to believe that this is anything more than sort of baby boomer narcissism and New Age mysticism. He can't.
Well, yeah. What about Ted Turner? He has 5 kids, more houses than anybody else in America. I read in People magazine, literally something like 50-something houses, 20-something jets, yachts everywhere. But he says I should only be able to have 1 child. These guys know they're frauds. They just cold-bloodedly want our resources, and they know we're well-meaning and may be conned and say, okay, I guess rape me. Take everything I got if it's for the earth. Ted Turner's right. That's right, you little slave. Now give me everything you got. Stay there. Long segment coming up with Christopher Horner. We'll talk about the fraud he covers in his book, Red Hot Lies, How Global Warming Alarmists Use Threats, Fraud, Deception to Keep You Misinformed. We'll be right back. I'm Alex Jones. My websites are Infowars.com and PrisonPlanet.com. Stay with us. We are back live, ladies and gentlemen. If you want to find out who you're really dealing with, what the environmental movement is, especially all you useful idiots that really think you're helping the earth, you need to see my film Endgame, Blueprint for Global Enslavement. You can get this film free right now for a limited time, and you get it with Fall of the Republic, a lot of other specials that we're running just up until Christmas. Let's say you know all about this stuff. Your neighbors, your friends, your family don't. This is a tax we have to pay voluntarily to educate our friends and family before they get turned into drone zombies of the New World Order. So I suggest everybody support alternative media, buy the books, buy the videos, give them to people for Christmas. A lot of big specials at Infowars.com, and get the amazing book, Red Hot Lies, How Global Warming Alarmists Use Threats, Fraud, and Deception to Keep You Misinformed, by Christopher Horner, available at better bookstores everywhere, put out by Regnery Press, also available at Amazon.com. Okay, Christopher, continuing, 1 segment left with you. I definitely want to have you back up soon. Very impressive discussions. You also talk about the harassment you've gone through with Greenpeace and other eugenicists. But before we go there, let's go over their lies, their scientific fraud, the premeditated fact. These aren't tree-hugging idiots who are just making mistakes. They know what they're doing.
Yeah, look, this climate gate, while you can tell by the effort being expended to diminish its importance. This is more than 1,000 emails, but it's not just the emails. It's computer code, annotations to the code, and documents. The pointy heads are still going through to figure out what's in there. They were not hacked or stolen, as far as we can tell. They were leaked by an apparent whistleblower. They were not personal emails. All of these things the media are telling you to distract you aren't true, because this is devastating. What it does is it affirms in the principal's own words what I wrote in this stupid science tricks chapter of Red Hot Lies. I named these guys by name, and I described what they were doing. There are more, and there are more people involved here. It's a fairly broad movement, but this is at the upper echelon of the highest compensated levels of climate science, on which we spend billions every year, by the way, so you know it's settled science, right? And they're admitting what they've been doing. They've been grafting not just apples and oranges together, but in reconstructing temperatures and waving it around and publishing it in the refereed literature, they're grafting apples and stethoscopes. They're taking tree rings, and they're saying this is a proxy for climate. It's a pretty good proxy for precipitation, but they're using it as a thermometer. Okay, and then they put on thermometer measurements because the tree rings show a cooling. Well, the thermometer measurements, which, as I show in Red Hot Lies, are increasingly taken over barbecue grills in Hopkinsville, Kentucky, Phoenix Sky Harbor Airport runway, Tucson parking lot when he used to be out in the field. I mean, they're playing games with the data as well out of NASA, which is why we've got a notice of intent to sue them, by the way. And they're grafting A onto B in order to present the picture that they admit in their emails they need to be true, they want to be true, has to be true. Some of them say, we know it's true even though we can't see it, and these are the lead. This was an IPCC UN Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change lead author. This guy named Kevin Trenberth said in two of the emails, it's a travesty that he can't find the global warming that he knows is there because his heart tells him so, his computer models tell him so, but our lying eyes don't tell him so, and that's a travesty, he says. We need to go out and get better measurements. We have caught them, for example, this summer. Our National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, which presently is in Copenhagen right now, with a big reception room, with moving visuals, I read, about melting glaciers and so on. You're paying for this. This summer, in order to make its claims of temperatures going up, just slowly backed out of their calculations. They dropped the satellite measurements of the ocean temperatures. Why? Well, the oceans are cooling. The computer models all say the oceans are warming. The oceans cover 2/3 of the Earth's surface. If you include ocean cooling, they've got a problem. So what did they do? They said, we know it's warming, so there must be a bias that the satellite temperatures must be wrong. There's something wrong with our observations. Who are you going to believe, my computer model or your lying eyes? And so on and so on and so on. And I detail these tricks in Red Hot Lies.